Hello everybody, my name is Art Oka, and in this video I just want to share with you guys how I took photos of the fireworks at the 38th Southeast Asian Games closing ceremonies last month. First off, just want to congratulate all of the athletes who participated. Thank you very much for bringing pride to your respective countries, especially the Filipino athletes. Congratulations for winning gold. You guys make us proud to be Filipinos. So I'll be talking about two aspects of taking photos like these. Number one is the technical part. Number two is the access. So number one, the equipment that I use a Nikon D750. Being a Nikon partner photographer, thank you for the support, Nikon Philippines. And a Nikon 16mm fisheye f2.8. In this instance, a fisheye works well because the coliseum is already circular, so the distortion isn't that pronounced, although you could still kind of see it's fisheye, right? But the main reason why I'm using fisheye is because of the objective reach. I'm not really using it for the bulbous effect, but to really get the edges, to get the whole scene inside. Plus, the Nikon 16 fisheye, even though it's an old lens, is very, very high quality. You can really crop in if needed and still retain the details. Whenever people ask me about the settings, I always say I start with, because you always adjust as the scene goes on, right? ISO, I just set it to 100. For the aperture, I start with f8. And for the shutter speed, I set it to bulb and use a wire release to manually control the open and closing of the shutter. So why do I need to do this? Because unlike if you're shooting nightscapes with like cars, light trails of cars, where it's okay to set a specific shutter speed, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, because it's just cars going about. But with fireworks, it's best if you do it this way so that you could eyeball what's happening exactly. So you could have flares going on, flare, 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 an explosion, explosion, a flower, and then that's your shot. You stop your shutter speed there. So you click, you eyeball it, and then when you think you got it, so you have to kind of imagine it. You kind of have to see the elements and put it together and picture it in your mind, what's being captured by the camera. And when you're happy, you close the shutter. So that's basically how you do it. And then the aperture, if you feel like you're going to be holding onto that button for more than like 15 seconds or more, you could increase the aperture deeper. You could set it as far as f16 or more to like reduce the light and get a proper exposure. With fireworks, there's usually like a flow to it, right? So they start small and then they go big, and then they start small again and they go big. So you just kind of have to like feel it. And of course, for fireworks, make sure you shoot raw. You really want to get the maximum details captured by your camera for post-processing. So now I want to talk about the access. So my client was Immersive Asia and Videosonic, the production hired by the organizing committee to like put the staging and then put the program together. And so thank you very much for trusting in me, for hiring me as your official photographer. And so I got to the venue around 3 p.m. I scouted for a good location, and I saw that the bleachers was the best place to really capture the whole venue. So when I got there, I already had set up my tripod and my camera, and I had an assistant just guard my camera. Although I know some photographers who would just like literally leave their camera or like mount it to a railing, so you could do that too. So I had an assistant. He was there to guard my camera while I was down at the grassy area to take photos of what's happening at the program. And so I knew the program beforehand, and I knew that the fireworks was going to take place after the Vietnamese cultural show. When the dance performance started, I took some photos and quickly rushed up, inched my way, because by that time, the whole area in that top bleacher part was filled with other photographers from the media. And so I was able to get into position and do the long exposure with my wire release. In general, in events, your access will depend on who hired you. So if you're hired by the media, most likely you will only be allowed to enter at a certain time, an hour before the program starts, and then be escorted to a specific area where you're allowed to shoot. Or it depends, like some media are given more access than others, right? If you're hired by the committee or the production, like I was, so you're kind of like the official photographer, and you get more access because you could be there during the setup. If you're hired by an artist, then you get more backstage access. You could be like in the holding area with the artist because that's your client. So you want to take photos of those moments. And if you're hired by the actual venue, then you also get more access. It depends on your client on what type of access you will get in general, but it will depend also on the event. Just make the most out of the access that you get. It's good to be there before the event starts and to get the program flow before anything else, so that you could set in your mind and really watch the clock on where you have to be, and then scout already which is the best location for a particular moment in the event to capture the shot. So that's very important. So basically that's it. Set your aperture to f8, your ISO to 100, use bulb and a shutter release for your shutter. Eyeball the fireworks on exactly how long of a shutter speed you will use. Make sure you shoot raw. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Follow me at my socials. My name is Art Oka. Thank you for watching.